Yeah, let's talk Acolyte. That's why the people are here. They want to talk Acolyte. Did everyone watch episode 5?
Oh my god, Acolyte.
So what do we want to call the bad guy? Do we want to call him Smilo Ren? Because he's got the smile on his helmet? Or do we want to call him Emo Ren?
Why?
He's
Why
kind of
so,
emo.
Should it be why so Scythius?
Why so...
Why so Scythius?
Let's get into it, dude. So what were your initial thoughts on all of that?
Just like how excited I was to get a little Wookiee Jedi action. That was going to be pretty sweet. Guess what happened? He died. We spent so many millions of dollars on this whole franchise, but we couldn't be bothered to spend any money on appropriate spaceship.
Dude, and like you had
getting a Wookiee to fight, like what?
It was the shortest episode. Episode 4 was the shortest episode. You could have actually extended it, I don't know, another 4 minutes and had a really cool action-packed lightsaber fight with a freaking Wookiee. Everyone would have been like, oh my gosh, a Wookiee Jedi, because we've read about them, we've seen them in the comic books, but we've never seen them on the screen yet.
Aside
we finally get
a Padawan in like one of the animated series.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah. But like live action.
Yeah, you want to see the power of a big Wookiee using the Force. Like hell fucking yes.
And it's like a 30-minute episode, and they're like, yeah, we can't do a 4-minute fight because, mystery, intrigue. And it's like, oh my gosh. So episode 4. No Wookiee fight. Could have had a Wookiee fight. Missed the Wookiee fight. That would have been the best. And how much are they paying per episode? This budget is so big, man. So big,
and it's clearly been spent on a couple actors.
So let's talk about the plot a little bit. So essentially what we have on the catch-up is, so we never got to see cool, awesome Wookiee Jedi get killed by the bad guy with the red lightsaber. We didn't get to see that. We got to see a cliffhanger of like a tease of action of like an army of Jedi and one bad guy. And he was all like, ooh, force push, and it's like, we couldn't even see like a dark power from this guy. We had to see like just the normal, neutral, when you play Old Republic or Knights of the Old Republic, you have the good side, you have the light side force powers, and then you have the dark side force powers, and then you have the neutral ones, and they cost like force points depending on your alignment or whatever. The force push is like the basic power, and it's like, ooh, force push, and he just does this to all these Jedi Knights and Masters. Okay, so that was ridiculous. And then we get to episode 5, and it's like, all right, so we're gonna see some action, right? So it doesn't open on action, which would have been cool if it just opened on the fight scene. It opens on our heroine, OSHA, the government agency that will ruin your business if you do anything out of line. She's like, oh, what's going on? Oh no. And then we get to see a glimpse of a lightsaber fight through the trees. And then zoom in close, which was like, what is going on? Get to the stuff. Get to it, Leslie Squarehead. Get to it. And we finally get into it, and it's, bad guy fighting a bunch of, but the main dude, the Jedi Soul, he ain't nowhere to be seen. Dude's nowhere. Yep. So bad guy's fighting all these red shirts. He's fighting all the red shirts and slicing through them.
First guy you see on the ground is the guy we talked about last week, who was the one Jedi who was like, it was like, oh, mixed race, random half beard Jedi guy. Yeah, he's gonna be the first to die.
He's the red shirt.
First person to die.
Yeah. So there's a big fight. Soul's nowhere to be found. Apparently he was feeling,
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
So he decided to just, I guess, skedaddle. And so, bunches Jedi, and there's no story. There's absolutely no story. So then what we have is the Jedi, he beats everyone. He fights this girl. She's apparently the best out of everyone. Like, the Jedi Masters, not as good as her. The Jedi Knights, not as strong as her. The person that puts up the biggest fight, oh, shocker, is the Mary Sue character, Padawan, who is a Padawan. Okay, a Padawan up to this point hasn't displayed any like super awesome Anakin Skywalker level giftings of the Force or anything. Just
Or-
seems like
or
a little bit of
or
a
even any
like,
sort of like Ahsoka Tano level, like
Yeah.
wow, she's a little smarter beyond her years. She seemed, with it, but it
oh
was
no, they definitely made her. Oh, she's the boss. She was bossing the master around. So that was the
Well,
one thing is that
the-
she's very bossy and a
first of all-
know-it-all.
First
And
of all, the
she's
master, he did need to put his shirt back on. That was some bullshit.
yeah. So she's the Velma of the group.
Velma!
Yeah, she's the Velma, but she's a Padawan. But she's better. She puts up a better fight than Soul, the Jedi Master, who's like the only good actor in this whole freaking shit show.
He's great.
And she
Dude.
still dies, dude. To this guy, Smilo Ren,
Spoiler alert. Yes.
because he pulls out a little Wakazashi Tonto lightsaber, and he's all, "Let me poke you 3 times." Boop boop boop.
He prison shanked her in the middle of the woods.
Yeah. So the soul guy finally shows up on the scene just to watch the Padawan that was putting up the awesome fight, to watch her die.
no.
And he's like, "Oh no, oh my god!" And then there's some other stuff. It gets revealed that he's the bad guy. The helmet gets ripped off, and then he's like, "Why are you doing this?" And you're thinking, "Oh, okay, so we'll get some exposition of the grand plan." Fine, okay, a little tacky, but we'll get that. And he's like, "Because I want to be me." And you're just like,
It's gonna be May.
so we continue on the whole trashing of the Jedi, which has been like a decades-long thing.
Seems to be very clear that
Jedi are bad guys now. They won't let Smilo Ren be his true self. Except you're using a bad guy as the vessel for that. A guy that's murdered a bunch of people.
I feel like they're going to do a little twist, though. They're going to try to make you, because first of all, they're setting the Jedi up to be just absolute assholes and shills.
Yeah.
And so they're going to do a little twist that makes you immediately go, "Oh, wait, maybe he's right. Maybe he's right." So that's why they're setting this whole thing up. You wouldn't let me be all your restrictions. You wouldn't let me be, which is actually the heart of when it comes down to it, it's the heart of all of Star Wars lore, is based on the fact that they don't let these certain Jedi like be who they want to be, and they end up like breaking out or breaking away or doing something terrible and destroying the universe. Anakin,
Yeah, which is one of the sad things that Lucas actually did to his own franchise. I think Lucas was the start of ruining his own franchise, because the original trilogy, it was about discipline, controlling your emotions.
dude.
It wasn't about being giving into your anger, giving into your passions, giving into your lust for revenge. It was about controlling those feelings and having the discipline and the wherewithal to do the right thing. And that was the journey of Luke, a very emotional young man, coming of age young man who had all these feelings that felt like he was being held back. He was angry and he was frustrated and he was very emotional. And he was having to learn to not give into every single whim that he felt, but to be, and by the time you see him, the Return of the Jedi, he's a self-contained, controlled man where his emotions no longer, he still wrestles with them. He still struggles with them, but he's trying to control them so that he can do the right thing and win the day. And Lucas screwed all of that. He screwed all of that by making the Jedi this weird samurai cult. And then now it's like, and now you have people like Leslie who are taking a beloved franchise and ruining it. And I think, honestly, this is the thing that I was thinking about, is essentially what she wants to do is she wants to confuse the audience of what evil is and what good is, and kind of blur the lines and make things feel gray.
That's 100% happening. Yep.
Because she wants to cover for herself and the evil that she did by covering for Weinstein and all the crap that was going on. So when people are guilty of actual great evil, you'll see them want to basically gaslight everyone around them and kind of blur the lines. And that's why they'll point out like, oh, like they'll see people that are pointing out like what's wrong and stuff. And they're like, well, you did this like 15 years ago and you were terrible too. And see, you're just as bad as me, even though that person hasn't done anything bad for 15 years or whatever. But they'll try to like blur those lines, and because what it is it's a cope. And it's a cover so that you won't think that their evil is as bad because, well, see, you're evil too. See, the good guys are bad too, and that it's just so innate in this person. You could just see it. I mean, it's just such a cope and a self-insert because she has repressed all of the horrible and evil things that she did while working for Weinstein, because she did. She was his personal assistant, and personal assistants in Hollywood, man, they want to climb the ladder. They're getting along, and they're doing the bidding of the bad guy. They are, because they want to get ahead and they want to get a show and be able to be a producer and be a creator of a show. Yeah.
Tell you what,
bad lady doing bad things. Okay. Yeah. So that's I'm emo Ren. I just want to be myself. I just want to do the things that I want to do.
Ezra Miller and Keanu Reeves, like bone down. There you go.
Yeah.
Emo Ren.
So, dude, and he beats all of these guys. He beats every single one of them. Souls. It was just so. Oh, it was cringe, dude.
They look like a not so festive Christmas tree.
But
where are the red lights? Oh, wait.
The absolute worst part, and we haven't even gotten to the absolute positively worst part of the entire thing, man. Let me pull it up here, dude. So we have this right here.
Oh.
So she gives herself a haircut. You could smell the singed hairs. And so that leads us to now. So it's gone from Frozen, because Leslie said that this was, she loved Frozen and wanted to kind of like adapt Frozen for Star Wars. So now we have the Parent Trap. So now what we're gonna see now is that doing her homemade haircut with the new and improved lightsaber Floby, she has now miraculously made herself look exactly like Osha. They switch clothes, and then she runs over to Sol, who's a Jedi Master, who the bad guy with the helmet was like, I'm not taking my helmet off because you'll be able to read my mind. Can't tell that that's not Osha. And he's like, all right, let's go. Which is super cringe, man. It's so cringe, dude. Like, just stop it. So Nathan has a great point. They wasted the potential of Carrie-Anne Moss.
Completely.
You know what would have been a better story? A better story would have been Carrie-Anne Moss
how this is actually part of the Matrix.
Is actually the bad guy that killed all the people, right? And it's a part of like a master plan to like do something. Although that would have been just that everyone that's awesome is a boss babe, and
she'll be in
all men are terrible. But
she'll have to be in at least one more flashback to the scene where the explosion happened on May and Osha's planet. So like they're gonna she'll be back. It's just a matter of is it gonna turn out that she was super terrible, that like these other three Jedi did like some terrible stuff, but was Saul involved? I mean, it sounds like he was directly involved.
I think the greatest issue, but the biggest issue that I have is so a lot of people, there was a big debate online about whether or not this guy was a Sith, right? Everyone's like, oh no, he can't be a Sith because, Jedi PP head, he said that, there haven't been a Sith for a millennia and he's in it. So that lets us know that there is actually no Sith, because he wouldn't lie, right? And so then this guy says, I'm Sith. He goes, I'm Sith.
Well, I think he says something along the lines of like, I guess I'm what you would call Sith or something like that. I don't know if he says it directly.
Whatever, man. He's freaking Sith, dude. He says that he's Sith. So he's saying Sith. He's like, I'm Sith, whatever. So that ruins tons of continuity. That just creates all kinds of continuity issues for the movies, the comic books, the video games, the whole nine. It's ridiculous. And they'll probably be like, oh no, he's Sith, but he's not really Sith. Or and it's like, no, dude, like, here, first off, you should have done this film after after the movies, the latest movies, the sequels, or you should have done this like Knights of the Old Republic style. This would have been a great Knights of the Old Republic
They-
story. I
they
don't know
still-
why Disney's hiding from that.
They
I
still really
don't
need
know why
to
they're
do
hiding
that.
from
Yeah, that's really where they should be going.
They could play way
so
more in
much.
Knights of the Old Republic,
so-
like way more.
The
Dr.
lore
Chill
is
has a
fun.
great point. I mean, that's why he's like, "You seen my face, now I got to kill you," and that's the way that they'll cover it up. But it still breaks the lore because let's be honest, if there was Sith, there'd be a disturbance in the Force. People would know. People would be able to feel it. Jedi Masters would be able to feel it because of their sensitivity to the Force. So like, there's all these like plot holes, and it's like you're always gonna have plot holes when you have other creators making fiction. But this is the kind of crap that pisses people off. Leslie clearly is not familiar with the source material, doesn't admire or appreciate or revere the source material, and really has no respect for the fans. And that I think is the biggest thing here, is that this is a hate letter to the fans. Every episode is a big giant to Star Wars fans, and that I think was what makes me the most irritated.
I think it is kind of her or their, one of these two, what they think of as like the old guard.
So how'd you feel about the lightsabers?
Okay, so
because you had a comment earlier when we were talking earlier about how you felt about the lightsabers.
I did. I have never in the history of all the lightsaber battles that we've watched, that we've seen as Star Wars fans, we've seen lightsabers where they've been like cut in half. Like it's like, oh, this guy's lightsaber doesn't work anymore, or like I think there was at one point someone had a double lightsaber and it was cut in half, but one half still worked, and you're like, okay, like sure, okay. I mean, we're already talking about space magician samurai, so like that's totally fine. It's fine. But this is the first time, and I don't know if they're gonna knock it up to like this is an earlier time, but it's not that much earlier in the Republic. But I have never seen lightsabers malfunction and like turn off so many times, not to mention that in one battle, like every single person's lightsaber got like knocked by this dude's helmet. It's like, what is it made out of? Unobtainium?
So
like,
no, it's made well, I'll tell you what it's made out of. So it's made out of cartosis. So cartosis is a material that we find in the comic books and the novels, and cartosis is a material that his helmet. So his helmet's made out of cartosis, and cartosis makes forces makes energy weapons malfunction. So this is one of the cool things. So someone on the writing team
at all in any way. So maybe hopefully we'll get a little touch of that. Okay.
I think they should explain it, but it's also a nice little Easter egg for hardcore fans. I think
it is, because I'm sitting here questioning. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I've never seen all these lightsabers just malfunction, and then it's back. Never mind. It's like a flashlight. I just needed to bang it around with.
It's got to be. And unless it's not, and they don't know.
It better be. It fucking better.
I'm assuming that the helmet's made out of cartosis, again, which is a metal that causes energy weapons to malfunction.
Go into cartosis if they don't explain this bullshit.
I might be pronouncing it wrong. I mean, because it's like it's spelt like I feel like
cartosis.
I remember like cartosis. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but I just from reading the comic books when I was kids, I got a bunch of Star Wars comic books, and that you would have malfunction is one of the things. It was an Old Republic thing too. I think it didn't make an appearance in the video games. I have not played through Old Republic, the MMORPG, but I'm thinking that it's also material in the Old Republic fiction, which again, this would have been a better show in the Old Republic. But I think the reason why they blew it is what I guess we're going to talk about next, which is Disney's hiring practices, because Disney has for a very long time has gone away from hiring the best people for the job and has gone into this practice of being very incredibly racist and focusing on people's immutable characteristics, things that they can't change about themselves, how they look, how they were born, and not focusing on what they can do and what they're capable of, which at its very foundation, at its very core, is completely bigoted and racist. But we're starting to see the result of this DEI hiring practice is that you can take a franchise that is beloved, you can have a premise that's actually could be interesting and has a lot of potential, and completely, totally fudge it all up because you've hired incompetent people based on what they look like, not what they can do.
Message.